All right, there we go. Let's see if we have this all set. Move things over. There we are. Howdy, Xavier. Good to see you. Let's change the time of today. I think I prefer to work under the day. All right. All right. Hey, I am good to see you too. Okay, guys, let's gonna put this on normal speed. I tried giving Ava some head pats, but Lud and Zolin have huge fangs. Well, your first mistake was playing DS2. Okay, yeah, nothing. Okay. That's not double slash, is it? All right, that's pretty basic. Okay. Yeah, I can't tell if that's supposed to be the double slash attack or not. Oh. My man had a crossbow. Oh yeah, I forgot. You're the guy that probably shoots while the other one goes. Uh-huh. Okay. There we go. What do you mean by that, huh? Exactly what I said, you filthy stinking lizard. Anyway, go on. Yeah, I guess that has to be the double slash one, huh? They'll do a stance. I mean, does that count as a stance? If so, it's really rare. Like, that's not really a stance, though. Okay, what if I, like, go a little farther away, then, maybe? No, because he just does crossbow. Okay, maybe it's just this guy, though. Maybe he's just too busy being crossbow man. That is it? Okay. Didn't really capture it. Can we get to flatter ground? No. You're gonna be annoying about that, aren't you? Well, okay, I'll just deal with your brother. Was it discrimination the year of our Lord 2026? Shake my head. You can also compare it to the heavy attacks of the Warhawk talent if you have it on character. I don't know if I do, but we can check either way. Okay. This is a little more flat, so... Oh! Yeah, I like this. Let's make this really easy for me. 35. There we go. 0.35. Oh, damn. Was not easy for me. I'm sorry. Oh. Oh. I need to be a little farther away when he does it. Let's see if we can do that. No, that's just him doing the down. Oh. I don't remember if we had shots of them with the fire. Having the rot all around him is a pretty good. Again, knowing me, I probably already have a shot of this, but... There you go. Yeah, let's go to flatter ground, my friend. Oh. I guess? I don't like it. Let's do it one more time. Get over here. All right, let's go. All right. There we go. Yeah, we don't need the grass. We don't need the grass in the foreground here. So something like this, maybe. Have to be careful about this too. I don't need you flickering, you stupid effect. Mm-hmm. All right, can you like do it again, like right away? Yeah, back up. Oh. Uh-oh. Get over here, maybe? There we go. Damn. All right, cool. Let's see. Oh, out. Woo. All right, there we go. This is so difficult to get right. Come on. Oh my god, really? All right, come on. This could work. I could see this. At the other angle, just in case. Ah, with the sword, just had. Oh man, we had it. We almost had it right there. The sword just had to like clip through. With just one enemy, by the way. Yeah, so I wanted to. I remember Xavier or someone saying a while back about these enemies doing double slash. I was like, oh, that's actually very interesting considering this is where we get double slash in the general Eastern influence. And I think it's relevant to analysis on Tanith. So it might be worthwhile. Oh, oh. 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 I think I need to slow this down even more. Unfortunately, my character is like, my hands are right there, so makes things a little more awkward for the shot. Hmm. All right, I think that's okay. I think that's not the worst way to get the shot. I was able to play the original Demon Souls again lately, and it's so amazing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to either getting an emulator or whatever and playing that. Unfortunately, I wish my PS3 was still active because I would be happy to like try to rig that so I can like stream like playing the OG. But like my PS3 broke long ago. It went kaput. You know, it's an old piece of tech at this day and age. All right, so that pretty much confirms what we wanted to grab here. Now let's see. Do I have the Talon thing? Oh, whoop! That didn't kill you. All right. All right. Talon. I don't think I have it on this character. I don't think I've killed a lot of the stupid hawks, so I might have to go to another character for that. All right, in the meantime, let's do knights. Where's a good spot to fight these knight boys? This is where the annoying guy is. I think over here, actually, right? Because there's a group and includes the knight. Oh, no, it's specifically spear knights we're looking at, right? Do sword knights do anything interesting? It's a straight sword. I'll have to double check again then. On emulator with 60 FPS, it's pretty awesome. I mean, granted, if you can get good FPS on anything, it's pretty awesome, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a spear, right? That these guys, I'll double check real quickly though here, see if they do anything worth noting about. Oh, Roar and Lion's Claw. That's right. That's right. They do Lion's Claw here. Okay. I don't remember mentioning the lore my Radon analysis. That's obvious, right? Yeah, it's pretty standard. I hate it. Oh, I hate it. I think it looks dumb. Let's at least slow it down. Well, now it's normal though. So that's not special. All right, so does roar only happen if they're at range, or will they do it in your face? I guess would be the question. Come on. Oh, it's too early. Oh, yeah, that's way too early. Oh. Yeah, it is a pretty goofy animation, isn't it? Like, when you actually look at the freeze frame, it's like, I don't think this is how knights fought. Yeah, there's just no way to make this look good in a single screenshot. Now the roar though, roars we can do. That is, if he'll do the roar. Yeah, he's not doing a roar. They really took Artorias' attack, lol. Yeah, it's not even a wolf attack, it's a lion attack now. Talk about the canine erasure, or lupine erasure, I guess would be the technical term. I can't believe they gave the dog attack to a cat. Probably lower health. Oh, you think so? Alright, let's try this. All right, how about now? Oh, that was the trick. Something like this, I think, will work. I remember when I told you as a reference to him, you said you thought it definitely wasn't. I did not remember Artorias doing the exact animation that they're showing here, right? And I stand by that because obviously he has only the one arm, right? But if we're trying to say like, okay, you know, like the general idea of like spinning through the air, okay, sure, I'm willing to concede that. But yeah, the exact animation they were doing, it wasn't. But if we want to joke and be like, haha, they stole Artorias' attack, sure, whatever, I don't care. There we go. I think. No, a little lower maybe. God, just finding the right thing where it's like, how much is too much, you know, roaring look to it, you know? That's why I said it was a reference. I get that, Xavier. The thing is, when I think of references, I think of like more direct callbacks where it's not just, you know, oh, we're doing a similar like, we're not going to make it where every type of slash attack is a reference to like Quelaag or something, right? Or so any type of like charge attack or any type of like spear thrust is a reference to Ornstein or something, right? Like, so for me, I'm like, oh, that's that animation from that game, right? They're reusing that and they maybe have some new lore or something that kind of puts a twist on it, right? Like, for example, them like including like the name Edgar. It's like, oh, that's obviously a reference because they use that exact name for a completely different character or whatever. Or Castle Morn and then Arena, and you're like, oh, haha, very funny, right? Like, there's something there, right? And my point is, there really isn't with the Lion's Claw beyond just like the spinning or whatever. It's like, oh, they jump in the air. If it was like multiple times chained together, I'd feel a lot more comfortable with it as a reference personally. Like it'd be like, oh, you can do it like, you know, 3 times like together, like, you know, because that's like, you know, that's what's really iconic about Artorias' spin, right? Is mechanically that like he can just like chain them and it's like kind of like a rhythm to it. Well, that's definitely not my definition of a reference. Yeah, again, I don't have a problem. Again, I don't have a problem with how you define it like that or whatever. It's just like at some point, like there has to be a cutoff point. And for me, I feel like, okay, are no enemies allowed to do a spin through the air and slam their weapon down, their big weapon especially down again because Artorias did it, right? Like it has to always be a callback to him. Like we can't ever just think of wanting to like do that independently for another thing or whatever, right? That's where I'm kind of coming from. But again, if some people feel like, nah, that's really iconic to Artorias, and even if they use it with 2 arms, it's still the same basic thing, and we're gonna do like, sure, fine. And we can make a big joke about, haha, the dog lost to the cat. Or the cat robbed from the dog, however you want to frame it. Well, guess what? The improved version of that skill in the DLC goes twice in a combo. Yeah, that is where I'm like, okay, when they do it like that, that's where it's like, okay, yeah, that's a bit more like, you know, Artorias coded for sure, right? Yeah, I get you. Like I said, I'm willing to accept if we're wanting to go that far. I'm just kind of like, that might be a little borderline for me. Okay, I have been like trying to like find like the perfect angle or whatever, and I'm just not finding it. Like I'm just not finding this magic angle. So I think we just like do something like this and call it a day, you know? And yet still I persist. No, now his hair is disappearing in the yeah. We don't want that. Okay, so it's gotta be... Okay. All right. That's it. Enough. Enough of me making this so dumb. There we go. Wait, did that actually hit me? Wow. Oh, actually, no. Let's have both weapons out. Ow. Now, do we know which roar that he does specifically? Like, it's not like a barbaric roar, I'm pretty sure. So I think barbaric roars, or maybe that's just Braggart's roar. But I'm pretty sure barbaric roars would usually have like an aura to them or something, right? Looks like it's just like standard roar to me. All right, actually let's do always stealth too, just in case. All right. Spear. I forget where to find spear knights besides the horseback guy. Oh, I never did. I should have checked. I should have checked in advance. I want to check in advance if we got like the fire breathing horse. It's like I vaguely recall that being a thing, but I don't remember if I ever brought it up anywhere. Horse. Blah, blah, blah. General knocked off his horse. Do I have anything for cavalry? Oh, wow. I just don't think I mentioned the horse at all. Yeah, okay. I don't think I have anything on the horses because, yeah, I don't think I have. Huh. Or maybe, you know what? Maybe it's, I have to see the fire attack, because if it's like the horse doesn't breathe fire, if it's like the guy just does a fire attack on the horse, then I might have gotten a shot of that, and it's like just mentioning the knight doing it. I'm pretty sure this is like the only red mane knight in the game, right? With on the horse, I should clarify. The only horseback knight for red manes. Bow guy here has a spear. Okay. All right, do you have a skill or anything? That's what we're trying to find out. Oh. You do. There we go. I want to get the early part of the animation, because otherwise it kind of looks, it's not entirely clear. Like you kind of get the idea because it's the flame spear, but yeah, I could definitely include mention of this. Ow. All right. Not sure if I quite like this one, but it's something. Oh, you have a double. Okay. Now, do you do it off the horse is the question. I think he might be using the skill Flame of the Redmanes, but it's a fireball instead of a Fan of Fire for some reason. Might just be a variation of the skill that they never bothered putting in game. Oh, he just goes straight into the roar though. He didn't even need to. Oh, and that roar has an aura. Okay. Oh, that's definitely Giant Hunt, huh? Damn, he got me. Oh, you know what? I probably did damage him and not just his horse. So he probably is doing the roar because of that. If I had to guess. Ah, would have liked to. Ah, it was too late. I got at the tail end. That's it, right? I'm pretty sure that's it. Let's put the speed down. There we go. Something like that. Almost looks like a Mesmer Knight, lol. Honestly, I can see it. Yeah, like I can think of several ways to explain this. Radahn recruited potentially people who were Erd Tree founders and fought in the Giant War. He again maybe trying to just study, you know, those old techniques or whatever because this is a land associated with giants and stuff like that, right? Like I can think of several in the final game, but if I had to guess, the idea was probably, yeah, if I had to like hazard a guess, I would say I think the idea was probably that Giant Hunt was being used because there were maybe some giants that were still lingering over down here in Caelid, and obviously Marika couldn't really get to them, or you know, probably didn't even know they existed until the end of the Fringe Folk stuff when Godfrey finishes conquering. And then obviously now, like, you know, Radahn is now going over here, being prince and stuff and living down here and all that stuff. And then so I can see the case being made that, you know, hey, you know, they're not really that important. They may not even be like fire giants with the fell god's face or anything, but maybe Marika just wants to play it safe and be like, hey, can you get rid of these other giants who've also got some history with the fire and the fell god and worship and all that stuff? I could see that having been lore at some point. Now, I have no idea if that would still apply in the final game, if there would actually be giant hunts or something. That's where I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, just finding the right angle with you, my friend. Not sure if that quite gets across. Yeah, something like this needs to... Oh, wait, that might be why Heavy Attack of Giant Crusher looks like Lion's Claw is inspired by that time of heroism. Yeah, it could be. Again, if we were talking about like Godfrey's big battles, there would really be the Fringe Folk Rebellion where Radahn could like hear the stories and stuff, or the Giant War, right? His dead horse is back. I know it's the dead horse now. All right, I think something like this is probably the best we're gonna get. Yeah, that angle, all that clipping and stuff, it just makes it look ugly. I don't like that, yeah. There. There we go. Yeah, I can see though how the giant war, because I saw online the heavy attack with the giant crusher, and it is definitely a very similar concept, except you're using the weight of the hammer to kind of like give you momentum or whatever, or rather using the momentum of the spin to help. Like, it's kind of weird. Like first you're using the hammer and you're kind of using the hammer as like a platform almost, but then you're using the momentum of the hammer after you do a roll in order to bring the hammer over to come down on a heavy slam. Now, obviously the physics of that is completely bullshit, but you know, working within like anime Souls logic, it's at least the concept's there. And then you can kind of see how that might evolve into Lion's Claw and stuff. So yeah, we might actually have something on like techniques and things and the exact how the knights and everything develop the way they do. Yeah, I think that's it. So all right, it doesn't look like this guy has any fire attacks, but I will get far away from him. Just see. Oh, I don't recall seeing this stance before. Yeah, that's the... Do the Spear Knights always do this? I don't recall seeing them do this really. I've seen them hold up the shield. Maybe it's just the sword guys I'm thinking of that just hold up the shield, but I don't recall them holding the spear up with this. That's actually kind of cool. With this like phalanx position. That's their anti-horse stance? Ah, okay, so specifically when you're on horses, they'll do that, but that's it. Okay. That's actually really cool. Yeah, he does not do any fire attacks, I think. Like, I'm giving him plenty of opportunity if he has a range in his AI. But it seems like he operates under melee range logic like everyone else. All right. All right, so we have a few things I can now add. We can kind of build on like Redmane training and stuff. It'll also give me a good segue to reference the cut content regarding Radahn the Giant Slayer. So that's kind of cool. Because now we at least have something we can kind of work with on getting an idea of what Miyazaki and From might have had in mind. I do think, because again, like I said before, it's it's pretty clear that they intended, the idea being that the giants crossed from Caelid to the mountaintops. I don't know what exactly the significance of Caelid is for giants, or the fire giants at least specifically, but that's... Oh, right. Uh-oh. All right, so we have that done. Yeah, that covers that for the enemies. There we go. Let me get back to... Surely the dog gave up. He did not give up. He did not give up. Did I already kill the lion? I think I did. I killed my lion. Shame, the one lion you can find in the wild besides the Mimic Tier in Lanedale, or Altus, I should say. Shame. Now, recently I actually compiled a list, because we did this obviously with the god skins, and it was very helpful finding a meta or, a narrative or meta-narrative reason for why god skins drop the specific items they do in those specific instances. I've done the same now with death birds and deathrite birds. Now, granted, I think my reason for Caelid could be a little more broad. I talk about it because, you know, they give you the poker here, and the idea seems to be because it stokes flames or embers at least. And it's like, oh, it's like, you know, the giants are stoking, you know, embers of the fell god's flame here before they move up to the mountaintops. I think you could definitely make a case, though, that would just broadly refer to fire in this area and stoking flames, because obviously the Redmanes also have a bit of, you know, stoking flames to deal with the rot. So it could also just be something like that. Granted, the deathrite bird appears right in front of this giant skull, which is right under, yeah, like right over there is the giant hemicyclium. So do you have a shot of the lions doing lion's claw? No, I know they have a jump attack, but I don't think I have a shot of them doing that specifically. Let me see. Let me have a look at it again. I know I do remember them doing a jump attack. I don't remember if there was like a flip to it or anything though. I guess the idea would be the flip is something the humans have to do, and the actual lions don't have to. Oh, it's dead. Oh, I forgot. These don't respawn either. Oh. Oh no. Thank God we have other accounts for this. I'm so mad I realized Shishinki actually has already gone all the way to mountaintops. I didn't need to kill Morgott here. I completely forgot. So now I have to create another account for killing Morgott in the future if I ever need to, or at least get the Morgott barriers or whatever. They can also combo it twice like the improved version. Oh, neat. Neat. Again, lots of stuff that can, in fact, be included. All right, so okay, that's not what we want. God, I forgot what his range is, so if we can, like, go far away and let him, like... Oh my God, you did break it. Oh well, it's not the biggest deal. Oh no. I think I have to be on top of him. Man, I've seen them do it so much more often than they're doing it right now. Yeah, I had a lot of lore for into Farm Azula regarding these guys because of the relevance to of course, to Sirash. Just do the attack, buddy. I'm pretty sure the Stormveil guy does it too. I don't think it's like something like the weaker version enemy or something that doesn't do the attack. I guess I'm just getting really unlucky with the AI. I swear they want to do every jump attack except the one I want. Oh, that's too early. Whatever. Might be a waste, but oh. Am I doing this wrong? Am I supposed to be really far at range or something for them? It feels like I'm just not getting it. Or maybe I have to be behind them? Do they need to take damage? I don't think they need to take damage. I feel like I've seen them when they're at full health. God, you are being annoying. Just gonna see if attacking him a few times. Oh yes, I would have liked to see these guys with both weapons, like not having one blade snapped or whatever. I would have liked if there was a variation where you could fight them with like both blades and they can use them together. That would have been cool. He's not doing it. It's starting to annoy me. Because I know I've seen it. Like they do the big dramatic, like wait, like, you know, hang in the air for a half second before finally coming down with the full force. Almost like that, just a little longer. And it's like a little more dramatic the way they wind it up. So am I just unlucky or have I forgotten how to make this attack happen? He did it! He did it! I don't know what the trigger in his AI was, but he finally did it. Oh. Oh! How convenient. There we go. A single time, yeah. All right. Slow things down a bit. Let's play with the lighting. Yeah, like we basically got the perfect lighting. There we go. Uh-huh. There we go. Oh no, I hate it. I hate it. Thanks, I hate it. There we go. Oh. Something like this would work. Yeah, something a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, something like this. This works too. So we get one from like below and another one a little above. Yeah. Do a slightly different angle here in case we want a little bit more of the damaged look. There we go. Oh! He came for a second. He came for round 2. Oh god, my brain was starting to like crap out there looking at that. Yeah, it combos twice. Yeah, I don't remember him doing it twice before, so this is cool. All right. Yeah, so we got a bit we can add. We can add to Radahn for sure. So we're gonna have to list this all down. And he doesn't he doesn't really do like a flip like the humans do. He does kind of like a roll, like he definitely uses momentum, right? So like he jumps in the air and he kind of turns his body, right? But it's not like, you know, it's not like doing a front flip. It's more like almost doing like a side roll. Yeah, I know about the roar thing with Radahn's great swords. That I remember. I don't know why my character model disappears there, but I will not complain because I would prefer it. Oh my god, of course. The stupid loading thing happens right there. 1 second. There we go. I think I might like that one better. All right. That does it. Thank you, friend. I appreciate you. In fact, you know what? Oh. Can you kill me, actually? I kind of want to get you when you first do the roar. All right, you. Let's speed this up. There we go. There we go. Ay, ay, ay. So much lower. Yeah, so this is cool. And then we'll combine. We'll compare the double slash on another character real quick. That'll be good. Let's slow it down so I can get a really good shot of the roar here. There we go. I just want it to be less blurry, you know? Why is this the one branch that doesn't disappear? Ah! There we go. There we go. All right, last one. Yeah, I don't think we really need any more, or I don't think we can even get away with any more. Ah, you know, maybe. Yeah, I think we're good there. All right. All right, we can get out of here. I have always stealth on. How do you see me? Did I hit something to make the... Yeah, I forget. I think there is a key. Let me check the key bindings. I think there is a key bind for doing this. Toggle hut. Okay, it's delete. Huh? Huh? Okay, now it's... How did that delete button get to... I don't know. I don't get it. Okay. Okay, so we've got Redmane Knight Spear Boy, Redmane Knight Sword Boy with the roar, though I guess we didn't really need the roar because the spear guy also does it. We got the quote-unquote double slash, which we want to test now. Let's see how it compares to the Talon thing. Why the hell am I... Get out of here. I have to have it on my sorcerer. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I've picked it up. This is it, right? No, that's Kane's sword. This is the Talon. There we go. This is too fast, though. Let's see it normal. It's similar. There's definitely a similarity. Of course it has spinning slash. Ah, yes, the swirling winds, of course. Also ties into the flowing water stuff, if I recall. I don't know if this is unique to this Talon, though. That's, I think, the big thing. It's like, there could be other weapons that have similar things to it, so it could be a coincidence if they look similar like that. Also, it's a pretty basic move in general, right? Let's look here. Yeah, okay. Oh, we go to hammers. I'm pretty sure I have this one, too. So I. Oh, I guess I haven't opened. Oh no, yeah, I do. Okay. I don't know if I can even do this properly because I'm obviously a sorcerer build. Yeah, but something like that. It is unique. Okay, so it is unique to them. Yeah, see what I mean? Like, you kind of use the weight of it to help give you like some leverage, so you can then do that. But yeah, I can see the idea that the Red Mains develop this type of technique further. Let's take a shot of it then. Actually, you know what? Let's do it on a character that doesn't have these stupid particles everywhere. I'm pretty sure I can put the sorcerer stuff on my other guy. Give it Lion's Claw. That would be funny. Let's focus on this. Now you can already see the similarities, so. I have to have this weapon, right? Like, there's no way I skip the chest for this. First time for everything, I guess. Also, speaking of. Make my life easier. Oh god, I did skip it. Oh no, it's here. Okay. Don't worry, guys. I'm the other Loki. No one will know the difference. It's always me. Oh no, we're going nighttime here. There we go. Yeah. I get you. Huh? Oh, right. That's the skill. It's the skill. I'm crazy. It's the art. There we go. For a second, I had a brain fart because I got so caught up in the whole Lion's Claw thing. I was like, wait, what? Okay. Let's in fact slow this down even. All right. All right. Enough brain farts for tonight. Okay. Yeah, we have that. Oh, I'm not going to like that actually. Oh God. Okay, no, it's done. Okay, cool. I forgot how short that is. All right. Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah, and then like you're on the back, and then you use it to kind of push forward and drag it along with you, which again makes 0 sense physics wise, but whatever. There we go. All right. That should do. All right. Let's see, round table. God, it's been a while since I've been to round table. I do not have Lion's Claw here, which actually makes sense. Let's get the Realm of Shadow one. Because that one I just loot a corpse. I don't remember if the other Lion's Claw I get from defeating an enemy or a scarab or something. So that way if I ever need a shot of that scarab again for whatever reason. Ugh. Go this way. Thought you were closer, but you're not. Okay, yeah, so no corpse. It's just there on the floor. Okay. Okay, sure, whatever. I don't care. Sure, why not? Let's replace this. No. God, I'm still over encumbered. Holy hell. Huh. That looks familiar. Yeah, you don't really use the weight the same way, right? Like, you can see that there, like, Actually, how does that beginning work? Yeah, you just kind of drop it, let it drop to the ground. It snaps almost a little too quick, maybe. That's me charging it. There we go. Well. Oh my. Right, like you have to put this down and use the momentum here. Honestly, it's the same general concept. You take the weapon and you just use the momentum of the weapon. Like, I'm not sure if it's because the weapon is a hammer here, but it still hits the ground in a similar way. And they actually do show it. No, it's actually where your feet are for that one. So yeah, I think if it was a sword, it wouldn't even touch the ground. Or yeah, God knows where the second one comes from here. I didn't realize the Western RPG is anime. I mean, that's why they call him Michael Zaki, you know? He's got a little bit of Western boo, or actually, what do you call that? Westaboo? Yeah, Westaboo. He's got a little bit of Westaboo, a little bit of Weeaboo in him, you know? Alright, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you can see it. This one's more about using the actual momentum of the weapon itself from a swing back. Whereas this one is using the leverage like a lever, right? On the ground. And then you basically take the momentum of the handle to help drag the hammerhead up here. Whereas this one, from the very start, using the momentum of the tip of the weapon to basically kind of do the somersault here. Random interjection, but was super stoked to see you finally wrote about the shattering. It's only countless hours of reading until I get to it. LOL. No problem, Fabian. But yeah, the shattering is a, you know, it's really a Morgott analysis at the end of the day. Like, obviously not a holistic or Morgott analysis like the dedicated stuff. The problem is just like Morgott as a character. Like, he's just so important to the shattering and to a bunch of other demigods, like actions in the shattering, that you kind of have to like write the article around him and his faction and what he's doing. Like, it's kind of just hard to avoid like talking about how, like, you know, you're gonna talk about all the individual stuff with the different demigods who you haven't established yet, right? So you can't really talk about them in the shattering itself. So it's like, okay, we have to kind of frame this around Morgott, right? And all that stuff. But you also can't really talk about all the stuff Morgott's doing, because like all the stuff Morgott's doing is tied up a lot with the demigod. So it becomes this thing where I'm glad I was able to give like a lengthy but good overview on like the basics of like the demigods, the runes, the various politics at play, the alliance, some basic overview on obviously the first and second defenses without getting too bogged in the details. A bit on the second defense, admittedly, but like not to the same extent with when we have like Kaiden and Godric filling in some of the other important bits, and even Radahn obviously ties in. So it's one of those things where I'm very happy with sort of the way it ended up, like kind of conceptualizing my head compared to what we got in the final product. It took a few redrafts, but I'm very glad about that. I'm also just really happy that we got I got to talk about Morgott and like his personal stuff, because like I said, I think his stuff in the sewers and the way they handled him, like kind of like framing him as like, it's just interesting because he and Mohg kind of switch, right? Like Morgott starts out as like the rebellious teen type of person, and Mohg's like, you know, the super like pious, like I'm gonna be a good Christian type of you know, character, right? And then they kind of have this swap where obviously Morgott ends up being the one who becomes like this super uber pious or whatever. He's like, you know what, what am I doing with my life? I don't like, this is not what I want to do. And then like Mohg ends up being the one who kind of goes off the deep end with like, you know, crazy, you know, little like heretical fanaticism that he ends up adopting. So he's like, no, I will be the rebel. I'm gonna have a whole new dynasty. I have nothing to do with all of you, right? Like, so it's one of those things where like I really like kind of that dynamic they're playing with there with the twins, and then you have on top of that just like just Morgott and like all the like he's trying, man, he's trying. I was also happy we got some of the Radagon stuff in there, honestly. Like when I was going into this, I didn't realize how like important like Radagon's meddling was, but then I'm like, oh yeah, oh wow, yeah, like Radagon kind of screwed them all over from the start. Like he was the one that basically kind of like forced everyone's hand in many ways, right? Does it make sense, right? Like what Gideon says when he presumably is mistaking Radagon for Marika, right? Just this idea that you know, the queen wants us to keep fighting on forever and all that stuff. It's like, ah, yeah, that makes sense. So first it was the demigods, and then when the Tarnished came, he was the same idea. I kind of prefer that, honestly. Morgott has always intrigued me compared to the other demigods, even from my very first playthrough. Rebellious Tino, yeah. Yeah, I just think that overall, like, Morgott's just one of those characters who is, like, his madness isn't always immediately obvious, right? Like, he's one of the people who, and just to be completely frank, he's one of the characters who's like the most, probably more rational and even keeled. Like, he's a person who you could definitely see, like, you know, he has the best of intentions going in, right? And nobody's really cooperating with him. But it's one of those things where you can kind of be like, yeah, I can see it. I can see how you have been infected by the same madness as everyone else, where you just like, you know, there's only so much you can get screwed over by everybody when you don't even like people as it is. You don't have any attachment to these people anyway, and they're just being kind of frustrating, right? It's kind of like when you have like that very annoying customer, right? Like you don't have any emotional attachment to that customer. Hey, maybe even hate other people, but like this is your job, right? Like the stuff you do care about requires you to do this. And so you're trying to make it work. You're trying to be all polite and nice and, you know, do whatever it is. But this customer is just so freaking annoying, and he just doesn't get it through his thick head. So like you kind of like just are slowly going crazy, and like eventually you're just going to snap because you just can't take like this thing anymore. So like that's how I kind of feel about Morgott. He's an overworked cashier. They also end up as an opposite responses to trauma. Yeah, exactly, right? Like again, I think it's just like I think to the extent that we can infer what Martin contributed when it came to the demigods and stuff, I like how you have these very simple character archetypes, but there's so many, like a lot of parallelisms and dualities between them. Like I'm seeing this a lot now with Rykard and Ronnie, and like the way that they end up kind of, you know, collaborating in the Shattering and stuff. And whether that was a Miyazaki idea or that was a Martin idea, this idea that, you know, like Ronnie and Rykard both have this like deep-seated care for their mother, right? And so they both end up having this hatred for the gods, right? But with Rykard, obviously, it becomes directed specifically at Ratigan, his father, whereas for Ronnie, it gets directed at her stepmother, Marika, right? So it's the two aspects of the god that they hate, right? But it's both rooted in kind of that same thing where it's like their actual mother is broken and all that stuff. And then you have like kind of in the middle there is like kind of Radahn, where like he doesn't really care much about Rennala, and he doesn't really even care that much about Ratigan. Ratigan's kind of like being like, hey, look, see, I have the credentials to do all this stuff with Godfrey, right? Like Godfrey's the person like he's really possessed by. So it's just really cool because you have like these characters who reflect interesting like kind of elements and dynamics inside all these relationships, but still feels very clean and organic and believable for a lot of them. And then of course you get into Miquella and Malenia, right? And you have their curses also reflecting each other and stuff. And then you got Mesmer and Melina and all that jazz. Obviously how Mesmer responds by this like idea of like absolute loyalty to the point of spite, whereas Melina, of course, is obviously becomes the major rebel and all that stuff. Langdale remaining quite intact speaks to Morgoth being at least somewhat competent, I would say. I agree, though I will say I feel like they could have done it a bit better. I think adding just a few broken gargoyles and like one broken wall in Langdale itself was kind of weak. I feel like they could have done a lot more with like, you know, highlighting like destruction specific to the Shattering and things like that. I get it. They never breached the walls. They never got in or whatever. And the bigger damage and stuff comes from like the Ancient Dragon War, which again, I still think that's a little kind of silly. Like really, you couldn't like everything else that you see, like you have this giant ass capital that you were able to build, and you're telling me you can't like quarry freaking Grand Sacks and remove them, and you can't rebuild all those people's homes, like. That some of that stuff I'm kind of like, okay, I get it. Like it's a cool image and you really want to kind of like get across some of the environmental storytelling for the history of this place, but it's like, you know, I am happy though with how I was able to work in the what I consider to be kind of lazy environmental storytelling with the actual Second Defense of Langdale and stuff. I was like, okay, I can at least try to create a justification for this with Morgoth and like his mental state and all that stuff, and kind of tie it into like this larger narrative they're telling with it, right? I'm not particularly happy with it still. I don't not necessarily like it either way, but like I can at least see what they were going for and kind of create a rationalization. So. And then when Radahn and Malenia fight, it's a Faith Dex build versus a Strength Int build. Yeah, like there's just a lot of that, right? And it creates these just interesting little like jigsaw like puzzle pieces that kind of fit together so nicely, right? And it just makes it where like, yeah, all these like ways they kind of like move and you know, kind of join and go through, right? Like the only one that kind of feels like almost disconnected here is kind of Godric, but even then you got like the parallelisms between him and Radahn, and both of them having like this obvious focus on Godfrey, right? So you can kind of see them in an odd way being a natural pair, right? And then of course you have Radahn being like this very legitimately heroic, brave warrior, but then like you take his intrepidness and contrast it to the cowardly Godric, right? The cowardly, conniving, right? Like very weak, right? So there is stuff there. It's very weird with Godric because then you have this whole thing with Malenia and stuff like that. And it's like, I guess you can kind of say like they're trying to create a similar dynamic to what we get with Radahn, but I don't think it works as well. Maybe you can make the case for the Grafted where like, you know, both of them have like, you know, a quote unquote prosthetics, right? Like obviously she has the pure gold stuff of Miquella and he has like the multiple limbs from his fellow men or whatever. So it's like this kind of, you know, nature versus like technology, you know, kind of like, you know, two sides of like these fragmented broken bodies, right? Like I guess that may be what they're going for. It's just not, it's not as well developed, right? Because obviously there just isn't you know, it's, you know, Melania, you know, Godric's kind of like a sideshow on the in Melania's legend. God, Miquella's duality will be the death of me. I can never figure this man out. His sense of goodness is really strange. Yeah, Miquella's going to be an interesting character if I eventually, like, you know, get to him in the next few years, because there's just like, it's a big history with him. There's a lot going on, and it's kind of important to break down, because like I was explaining yesterday on stream, right? Like, there's a lot of stuff that's happening to Miquella in between, like a lot of events where we don't even think about it, right? Like, there's just so much stuff that's going on with Miquella specifically. And it can be really hard to kind of track down about what happens when, and like what is the order of events and what's going through Miquella's mind, what is his motivations at any given time, because they are shifting and changing as things are developing throughout his life, right? And like I said before, I'm reaching the point now where I do think that Miquella was also involved in the conspiracy with everyone else. I think it's the only real good explanation for his connection to Ranni with the summoning bell and Torrent and all that stuff. Also, the only real like viable character to explain due to the Torrent connection, the funeral steeds used for the Knights of the Black Knives, and like just overall, it's really looking like Miquella had his Haligtree project already lined up and happening, was already starting to recruit people as well in the background. I get the feeling, though, what happened was that he didn't realize the full extent of what Ranni was planning with that. So I think he did, for example, I don't think he expected the Castle Sol demigod. I think the demigod for Castle Sol was basically already recruited on the down low, because Castle Sol can't miss the Haligtree, and that's why they're referred to as the companion rather than a brother or anything like that. Because Miquella doesn't really know much of the golden lineage stuff, right? I think the idea was like they were just basically working together with Miquella as like under the table, so kind of a conspiracy inside the conspiracy. And then basically the idea was just basically get Marika out of the way. Okay, help Ranni with her revenge scheme or whatever she wants to do it. It's fine. It helps me, and then I'll become the new god. Obviously, that didn't exactly work out. All the demigods ended up being killed, but they never ended up getting to Marika. If that was part of the plan or whatever, that was part of the future. Obviously, none of that really, everything went haywire, right? And Miquella ends up basically trying to try to stall things because he needs to get Radahn or whatever. So he has to stall with the Great Rune in order to get Radahn to not become Elden Lord or anything like that. So that becomes a separate thing. And obviously, when the shattering and stuff breaks out, he sees that as an opportunity to finally you kind of force Radahn's hand and bring him into the fold one way or another. So Melania gets sent out, right? Like, so there's a lot there. I'd say I'm looking forward to a Miquella now the most, but do take your time. Yeah, the thing with Miquella is like there's so much doing there, and I'll be honest, I'm not particularly interested in doing it. Like right now, I'm happy. I think Rykard will probably be the next demigod I do, because I'm thinking more and more about it. I'm really starting to like kind of develop and harden, especially with the DLC data we have. There's so much good stuff we have there with Rykard and Tanith too. I think we also obviously I said before, Melania is probably gonna be my last one I do. There's also just a lot of stuff I want to do for other things, like obviously astrologers, eternal cities in Nox, Farum Azula. God, Farum Azula is so big. I think it's more important because I need the context of stuff like that. I don't know when I want to work on Ancient Civ and Dynasty, because I just don't feel like we have, like, I'm sure we have more than I'm even thinking, but like I feel like we still don't have too much. So like I don't want to kind of like have to rack my brain making all the connections there. That doesn't sound like fun to me, but it has to happen eventually. I agree, Xavier. I still stand by. I don't know what they were thinking that was going to be the entire weight of the story. Like, I get it, especially if it was something where like that was always like a plot thread, and Miyazaki probably felt like he needed to tie that up at some point, so why not make it the big thing with Miquella, right? Like, I could see the thought process there, but man, it would have been so much better if we just let Messmer be the focus. Like, just let us focus on Messmer and Marika's backstory and stuff like that. Like really, all of this all of that with Mikola is just like, the final boss is just fighting Radahn again. Why? It's one of those things where it's like, if this was the base game and it was one of those, like it was like a God of War situation where they just reused the boss. It was like just a reused Radahn, and then they just added like, I don't know, like Mikola like over the shoulder as like a ghosty or something. It'd be like, okay, like, you know, that's kind of lame that they kind of did that or whatever, but I could kind of understand, right? Like they're trying to fit like this as like a little side route in the game or whatever. Fine. But no, that is not what they did. They decided to save it. They decided to save it and put all their effort and resource into making that the final battle, and bleh, what a final battle it was. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of topics. I don't care about him being there. I just hate that stuff is anywhere close to being canon. Yeah, again, I don't think it's the best plot point. It's just one of those things where I'm kind of like, I would be more accepting of it if it was a smaller side base game thing, because then it would be like, okay, you know, this is like the appropriate amount of effort for what it is. But to have your entire like narrative story, like all of it is basically depending on this like major reveal and relationship. And you guys saw my Let's Play reaction to that. I was just like, no, don't let it be this. This can't be. This would be so lame. It was exactly that. I was like, ah. Didn't help the boss fight too. It was just absolute garbo. Why is Elden Ring lore so huge? Because it's an open world game. I mean, that's honestly the reason. Like, From Software has fully taken advantage of the fact that they have more space and they have interconnected areas now that can not only cover, like they can basically do Dark Souls 2 properly now, where not only do you have a wider land that can more realistically have these vast regions with different biomes and things that are spread far apart that you have to travel, but you can fill these things. They can actually fill these things with various little sub areas that help kind of get across more information about the various areas and their histories and the things that are going on in them. And that makes it a lot more difficult when it comes to data collection, because now, like, for example, if I want to get lore on what's going up with this guy, right? Well, now I have to now find all the places where these guys are found all across them. Where are they? How they're being used? What are there any details? Are there any variations? What enemies are around there or whatever, right? Okay, so this guy looks like he's responsible for hunting all these guys in this area or whatever, and he's kind of like, you know, just parading through his stuff there. There's a bunch of them up there in the storm gates, so therefore you get the idea that they're being used as kind of like intimidation or whatever, right? And at the same time that all of this lore is being like, you're trying to build up the data so you can properly interpret this lore and be like, oh, there's more of these guys here and a few of them there beneath the tower or whatever, right? So you're getting all these little mini vignettes that you're trying to build with this data. At the same time, it's intersecting with, oh, you have all this gate front ruins here where they seem to be using as kind of like a checkpoint or what have you, and then bring up all these coffins, and what's up with the coffins? What are in these giant coffin carriages and stuff? And where seems like they're on the roads, or are they brought here up the road to the storm gate before they get sent in or whatever? Well, why are they doing so? Now you have to go down the road or whatever, and you're finding another coffin carriage down there. Do it the same thing, and then you find this bridge of sacrifice, which the Japanese name is the Great Bridge of basically, or the sacrifice escorting Great Bridge, right? Because the idea is like you basically send off you're sending off sacrifices from here. Okay, well, what are the sacrifices or whatever? And I, speaking for myself, I didn't even make this connection until now. It's like, oh, it's the sacrifices for grafting, right? So again, that has its own implication. Like, it's just one of those things where like each of these individual things are so spread out and so interconnected with other parts of the lore that it becomes this real challenge where you have to kind of like sit through, untangle all of these different threads and different data points, and then try to make sure that you're able to kind of slowly build up your knowledge base on all these vignettes and things so you can have a more comprehensive understanding, right? So like I'm feeling like I'm starting to really get into the deeper history of the Weeping Peninsula and Limgrave recently, right? I've talked about the ferries and the ferry connections to both Stormhill and of course to the peninsula, with Castlemorn specifically, and it's really getting to the point now where like I'm feeling like we're at the point where like I've got all the data I need. Now it's just a matter of making the proper connections, making the proper inferences, and most importantly, understanding the cosmology. I I'm getting to the point where like I'm running out of history, and I need to start making some cosmological observations that will help us better kind of understand what is possible in this world and what characters can possibly know about, and what how they can use that information, right, to help us really kind of like hammer down the last detail. So it's just one of those things. I love Miquella before the DLC. Again, I don't think I absolutely hate Miquella. I just think it was really lame what they did with this storyline, and in terms of the Radahn stuff or what have you. And like I would have really preferred if we I get it because they want to answer the questions with Mesmer and the Realm of Shadow and all that stuff, but I would have really liked it if they focused on having like a more on Miquella's dream realm. I wish they didn't kind of decide that he's just going to eject Trina, and Trina doesn't even become really a boss or anything like that. So it's like, yeah, you don't even kind of get anything interesting in that regard going on there. And it would have been cool, kind of cool to see more of like just the outright like cosmic stuff and what the dream world would show with some of these things that were mentioned there. But it's fine. I guess they want to keep it kind of you know, mysterious and kind of, you know, what's the word, provocative, just to think about. But yeah, I'm not too hung up over it, but I'm also not too happy about it either. Miquella is kind of now layer where I'm kind of like, he's no Godric. He's no Morgoth, that's for sure. It's kind of like sitting in the middle for me in terms of the demigods. Why couldn't we just fight him one-on-one though? Yeah, that's the thing, is the fact that they made it another Radahn fight. And I get it, Miyazaki really likes Radahn or whatever, but like, man. Like, it's not even like a twin princes kind of fight or anything, you know? Like, I could have been cool if it was like really creative like that, but no, it's literally just like a redo of Radahn. Also, doesn't like it's also sad that they didn't take advantage of the concept. Like, we've talked about this before, the fact that it's like he's got the one attack from Mohg with the blood flame and like a few horns on like his arms pits or whatever, and like that's it. Like, that's the entirety of the they're using Mohg's body. Like, you could have done something really cool and twisted, but instead they're like, oh, look at like on holy on high Radahn and all that stuff and how refined. It's like, really? Like, come on, Miyazaki. I have to applaud you for not having your head explode with information. You see, that's the trick. I don't. I just dump it. How many times, chat, have I been like, oh my god, this is crazy, I never knew that. It's something that I have 100% made a discovery about, remarked on, and did a full breakdown analysis, word for word before, like... My favorite is when I go check my I write it all out. I'm ready to add it to the website article. I go to the exact spot where I know would be a good place to have it, and then I read and see that I already added it. Yeah, it's just it's one of those things where if I didn't write things down, chat, nothing would stay in this sieve of a brain of mine. It would all just fall out. Okay, yeah, we're in nighttime. I guess that because I'm pretty sure you're not here normally. All right. Woo. Yeah, we got the runes here. Yeah, the Mohg, the whole using Mohg's body thing, like, it is so superfluous. Like, the only reason it seems to be there is so freaking pureblood Knight Captain boy has some excuse to be at the final battle. Like, that's really the only reason. I guess they didn't feel like just wanting revenge for him by fighting Miquella was enough. It's like, oh no, he's using Mohg's body. That is a sin we cannot forgive or whatever, right? And they don't even take advantage of that in any significant way. It's like, come on, man. Like, what did you do to his poor ass? Like, imagine if it's like Radahn, but you can kind of see remnants of Mohg's face. So you got like a little bit of horns there on the side, almost poking through, and you can like see his teeth, like his jaw, like his open jaws of his teeth, like above and below Radahn's lips or whatever, right? So you can kind of almost get the sense like it's almost like the face is grafted on or something, like it's plastered across on this like there's just so much like creativity and like twistedness you could have done to this to really kind of give you like this sick feeling, like it's almost like Miquella like is trying to give you the veneer of this kindness that he imagines, but like it's this facade of his totalitarian instinct that he's really like kind of imposing both on Radahn and upon like, you know, the world at large. Like, oh yeah, like, see, like, this is the beauty that you're gonna accept and love. Like, there's so much you could have done that could have even been subtle, but like, it's just lame. The only thing I could think of is the phase transition might imply that the blood powers would have had a bigger influence if Miquella didn't return and hug him, since Radahn has a red aura before becoming gold. Again, and maybe there's some like idea of like the formless mother or something is like heating up with the blood flame and all that stuff, and like it's about to come through. But like, even if that's the case, it's lame. Like I said, I'm like, I can understand all that. I can understand the lore and the narrative's importance and what it means for the characters involved and why they would act this way. But it's like, it's so lame. If at the very least they could have made it where he does more blood flame attacks as you're getting through the first like few 5% of the fight. Like, you know, after you do 5% damage, he starts doing an additional attack. When you get him down 15%, he starts doing even more. When you get him down to like 30%, he does even more, right? And then like, you know, just kind of building your way until like Miquella comes in. Yeah, having like, again, if it was just more of a mix, I think I would have liked it more. I didn't want it. I just don't like that it ended up just being Radahn, but now with Miquella's light show. Literal light show. God, that seizure-inducing, crappy-ass fight. Yeah. Okay, so we got the stuff on the Elder Lion. We have the stuff for the Lion's Claw. We have, of course, the Roar. Actually, no, we didn't get the shot of the Lion's Claw because it looks shit. We got the stuff for, oh, God, what is it? Spear Guy. We got Sword Guy. We got Roars. Giant Hunt. We got Fireball thing on horseback. We got the seeming, potentially double slash. In fact, you know what? I want to actually now check. I don't think I want to see this. I'm pretty sure I have Serpent Bone Blade on one of these characters. I'm pretty sure I've done Tannis Quest on my sorcerer, right? So I think I have this. Yeah, let's do that here. Should be under Katana, right? There we go. All right, so you have it. No, that's not. That's Moonveil. Where is it then? Oh, it's right there. Okay. I thought that, I keep looking at it, thinking it's something else. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's not double slash. That's 100% not double slash. Yeah. Yeah, it has to be the Talon thing then. Let's slow that down. Yeah. So this, sorry. So the first, yeah, that's the. So this, I can kind of sort of see it, right? It's a little on the lower end, going from, because it's supposed to be like an X shape almost, right? See, like they're going for an X shape here, right? Which again, like I look at this, I'm like, oh yeah, that's like that's Japanese, like that's some sort of kendo. But I'm like, I'm not sure exactly. I'm not sure exactly what the sword play is here. I'm not that familiar with Kenjutsu. But like you can very clearly see, like that's obviously supposed to be like a kind of Japanese sword play. But the second slash is 100% not what we see the Radahn guys do. Like 100%. Because we saw the guy, he would do the slash this way, and then the other slash would end up clipping through. It would go down, so it was kind of like to the side and then downward. This is obviously left, you know, going down to up, and similar thing here. Yeah. Down to up, down to up. Okay. That's good to know. If I had to guess then, based on everything I know about the lore of the items. Actually, let me double check, because I don't think I'm forgetting this. I'm pretty sure. 1 second. Yeah, you look at that, like I think most people, if they've seen enough anything like Japan and katana related, they're like, yeah, I've seen like, you know, samurai characters do that before. Like it's a very clear-cut thing. Let me try to find it. Because what was it called? Lion's. No, I want to look at specifically Savage Lion's Claw, because I'm pretty sure it's there too. Okay, let me look at this though, just in case. Oh god, I didn't realize there were several of these. I guess this happened when it's just 100, huh? Okay, Lion's Claw, Lion's Claw. Oh, there we go. Okay, there's Lion's Claw. Yeah, they don't mention anything specific here for that, so. Yeah, but there is a point being made about, let me double check it. Where is it? Oh, right, this is the base game. This isn't DLC. Duh. All right. No retardation today. Where is it? There we go. So if I recall correctly, this should be the same terminology they use, or at the very least, it includes the same kanji. Blah, blah, blah. Yep. Okay. I was like, I'm pretty sure they're using this, because I remember doing this like a while back, and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is the same thing. Yeah, and this is the thing they use, because it's also included in the word that translates as intrepid, right? But it uses the kanji for fierce as well. Yeah. Okay. I am yeah. Got like, yeah. So this is one of the things. So like, I translate this as intrepid. You'll see. They call it, the localization, at least in the Oga stuff, they call it valiant. But it's this idea that like basically like it's supposed to be like this term essentially for bravery, right? But what's unique about it from other terms for bravery is that it uses the kanji for brave, like you see in Yusha, which means like a hero, a brave person, or brave soldier. You can also write write that as the term instead, right? But you also have like fierce, right? And this idea of like, you know, ferociousness, ferocity, relating to especially beasts, right? Like you'll see this a lot of time used. Like I'm pretty sure. Let me see if I can find it. Radahn soldiers, blah blah blah. Yeah, okay. Like so, for example, Dine, the Stormhawk, right? Like they use this. It appears here. But yeah, right here, like again, calling him like basically a fierce, ferocious, essentially bird or what have you, right? It's also the term you see used in stuff like bird of prey. So like literally when you see beast of prey or bird of prey, the Japanese term is literally like a fierce beast, a fierce bird or something like that, right? Like I don't think there's a bug of prey. I'm not familiar with that term if that would exist, but you know, like essentially, you know, some basic ideas like, you know, used for, of course, Godfrey and stuff when talking about like his fighting spirit and things like that. You also has this idea of it being, you know, him being so fierce, yeah, appears with demi-humans and things like that. Yeah, being fierce and becoming more fierce in battle at night, right? And we see that, right? Like the demi-humans, they kind of become almost more barbaric, right? They become more kind of like animalistic at night. So yeah, we have that. It's mostly ashes for these enemies and stuff for the lore and stuff. Yeah, here we got the. Yeah, they've got the for the raptor assassins, right? They have here like again birds of prey. Yeah, for fierce, ferocious, but you know. It's also. Yeah, okay, and this is just for poisons. That's a separate one though. That one's more so like. It literally means like fierce poison, but it's more so of akin to like a deadly poison or a strong poison, like an aggressive. Like the idea, of course, there is like, you know, like a bird of prey is a more aggressive like beast, you think, right? Because it's like a predator. It's the same idea. It's a more aggressive poison. So, yeah, all of that, it's working together, perfect. And then, yeah, is there anything else I want to? Yeah, there's the Godfrey talisman. Yeah, that's the Raven. That's the whole bird of prey thing with the Raven Mount guys, though. Which makes sense because death birds and all that. Like, definitely a bird of prey. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, perfect. And then, do we have it for weapons too? Yeah. Yeah, blah, 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 raptor talons. I don't care about those. God, why is there got to be so many versions of weapons? Venomous Fang. No, that's for the poison, though. That's not important. It's about the snake. Yeah, same here with the Serpent Bone Blade. Yeah, cool. All these are for the poisons, though. Yeah, that makes sense. Of course, they're going to use the term deadly poison a lot more. Okay. Okay, so it's mostly armors and the talismans and stuff where they reference it. Oh, sorry. The ashes and talismans where they reference it mostly. All right, so with that in mind, and like I established with the whole bird of prey thing, with like we see with Dina, I understand that was probably what they were going for, because if the idea is supposed to be like, you know, with Savage Lion Claw, that you're like a fierce lion and they're becoming intrepid, and right, I can see the idea being that they want to use that specific strong attack of the talons to reflect how the way that the Redmanes fight with swords are the same way that the Stormhawks fight with swords. So like both of them basically develop similar techniques because both of them are embodying that animalistic ferocity, which I actually think that's a really cool little detail then, because it kind of ties into like, you know, the soldiers do that, the knights do the roaring thing, and they of course do the lion's claw, and then you have the giant hunt thing, which is of course its own separate can of worms for us to look into. But yeah, this is some good stuff to add to Radahn's lore and stuff like that. I can probably really expand some of the training and the techniques and the things that the soldiers and knights are accomplishing with that. I guess now here's the question. Do I need to do this with other enemies too? Like, do other enemies have a lot of really unique stuff? Like, obviously Langdell Knights have like a lot of the same attacks, but they have like lightning stuff involved, and I think we've got that. I don't remember Cuckoos having anything particularly special beyond the sorcery thing for the knights. So I don't think they do anything crazy. Maybe the soldiers do, but I only remember the foot soldiers throwing the pots. The Albinauric pots. Maybe the Mikola stuff. So I don't think I've looked really closely at all the different attacks the Mikola guys do, because I rarely go to Halig Tree. So that might be one where like, okay, yeah, there's probably a lot of stuff I missed. I might want to look at their attack patterns in the future. I'm pretty sure Limgrave, though, like they're all basic, so they don't really have anything special going on for them. Like they're just, you know, the basic soldiers and knights, nothing else to them. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's it. Oh, they throw the yeah. They got the crystal glintstone. You know, the cuckoo glintstone or whatever it's called. Okay, yeah. So if that's it, then they're basic. Otherwise, okay. Yeah. So then the only ones that I think I would ever want to check just to make sure I'm not missing anything would be the Miquella army. Obviously, Malenia doesn't have her own separate soldier. And Rykard's guys are all dead, so we never get to see if there was anything special they would do with them. All right. Over there. Uh-huh. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it then for the soldiers and all that stuff. And then for the Rykard stuff, then it will be Tanith has the Serpent Bone Blade, uses double slash, and obviously is a katana, so clear Eastern influence. Obviously very anomalous on Gelmir, even if it was made on Gelmir. Tanith, however, if Rana, right? So Dancer of Rana is encountered island in the south on the southern coast, right? So idea being she would come from this vague direction in the south. Caelid would work perfectly for this. Could be a small country, a small independent country that gets destroyed during the Fringe Folk Rebellion, like Eohid. You can... The fire thing could tie back to being preserving the memory of the fire giants when they first were stoking flames on the mountaintops before they left. And so you have basically like these human barbarian tribes, right? And they end up, developing their own direction because, well, you have this very like paternalistic fell god and the giants themselves. You have this very, in the opposite end, very maternalistic society with like a queen, which that's nothing new in the Lands Between, but with a queen and with obviously, female dancers, and they're kind of very, they're the ones using swords and stuff with their sword dances, and they're the ones that are acting dignified, like Tanith, right? So it kind of ties in all together there, and it's easy if Tanith and Rana comes from the Caelid region, that then she would be familiar if we have a bunch of katana wielders ending up on shore. And we know that definitely has to happen with some history to it, because Gale Tunnel has that magma worm that has to go back to the Fringe Folk Rebellion with that rewards us the Moon Veil. So this idea of sorcerers and stuff who were receiving influence for the Land of Reeds definitely goes back far. And then the general idea with the Land of Reeds cultures and influence gets kind of reaffirmed in Night Rain with Executor, and the whole Executor basically washing up on shore and becoming a Crucible Knight, which is funny to think about. But again, like just the big Japanese self-insert in the spin-off game. Oh yeah, you see, like a Japanese dude, like can you imagine, like he washed up on Avalon and joined the Knights of the Round Table of King Arthur. Yeah, okay, buddy, it sounds like a manga plot. Let's see. Yeah, and then basically Tanith would pick up that information and then could pass it on to create the Serpent Bone Blade after Rykard has the conversion or whatever, right? And it becomes like, just the thing, right? Anyway, so all of it, that all actually ties together really nicely. Then it explains the Serpent Bone Blade, helps tie in with Tanith. Also, there's a very interesting thing where you have like red dancers in the east and blue dancers in the west with the fairies. That's another parallel I noticed here. So that's another interesting little what's the word? Nice little quinky dink. How convenient. Anyway, Mikola Knights are spears use a glintstone pebble, swords use a Halig tree buff that infuses holy into their weapon. It provides health regeneration. All knights drink a wondrous physic that full heals but has the mana regen VFX for some reason. I get the feeling, I think, because the idea was that I think the idea was originally because Loretta was gonna just be like a general tree sentinel type. I think probably the idea was there was going to be a bigger emphasis on the combination of sorcery and incantations and stuff. I think that was probably one of the ideas they had. I don't know what that means for the final game though. Like, is the idea that Loretta taught the knights how to use glintstone pebble? Is that what we're supposed to take from it now? That it's like all Loretta? Loretta's the one who taught all the knights when she got there. So just like, you know, she's replacing her sorcery stuff with like the Mickle and Ember. She's also teaching the knights how to adopt sorcery. I don't know why. I guess maybe the idea is to show how all these people of like different cultures and things, and like, you know, the Erd Tree and Liurnia, how they're actually going to work together and be friends and stuff, even though America's golden order is like collapsing and stuff. Maybe that's the idea, to show how like everybody like kind of like freely exchanging information in America's kind order world thing. Soldier can use poison spray mist, and the foot soldiers have the cracked crystal tier effect, and the player summon version has poison pots. The poison spray mist is not surprising to me because well, one, obviously the idea that like, you know, the whole rot, obviously, but it's because the original idea was that these guardians were originally going to be Mikola Malenia soldier guys. Like, they were going to be basically part of the whole Mikola Malenia joint faction, which makes so much sense because you have that combination of the gold with like the red flowers and the poison and stuff like that. So like, yeah, I can easily see this originally being an enemy that was focused around, you know, Mikola Malenia, and then they ended up deciding to change the lore and repurpose them for this whole Erd Tree contract business. You do theorize Mikola hired some Cuckoo Knights? Yeah, I do theorize. I have theorized that as well. But I'm just kind of like, is there a simpler explanation, right, than that? Maybe. Now, granted, the fact that the Mausoleum Knights, specifically the one on horseback, has like the cuckoo stuff faded on there, that's a bit weird to me. I feel like if they were retexturing it, that would not be there. Like, that, there's no way in hell that would still be even a faint impression. So that kind of leads me to believe that they're trying to intend to make a connection with cuckoos there. I said it before, I would not be surprised if Mikola attended Raya Lucaria Academy. Like, I think just the way he is, his obsession with his trying to find a cure for his sister, and his dissatisfaction with fundamentalism, I can totally see the idea that a young Mikola decides he's going to go over and attend the academy. Also, if I remember correctly, I think we do get, I don't think if we get Mikola items, but we at least get Trina stuff for sure. I'm curious because I haven't looked into Night Rain that much, so how actually relevant is it for revealing new lore info? As far as the, like, it adding new lore to the game, it does do a bit of additional history and stuff like that. I think the most relevant thing is probably Noclateo, because it's a new Eternal City, and it's very likely the Eternal City that was originally on the surface before all of them, obviously, it ends up underground, and then the other ones get built underground. Did I pass him? I don't think so. Okay. Anyway, so Noclateo is, I guess I killed him. Oh man, poor guy. But yeah, so like Noclateo is, I think, pretty relevant because what it gives you definitely helps kind of framing with some arguments and stuff like that. Some of the other additions are kind of weird. Like, there's the arena that I'm pretty sure has like another god thing, and I don't know if it's related to anything Lands Between like at all. Yeah, okay, this one will probably be the best. Yeah, the problem with Night Rain is that the actual story of Night Rain essentially takes place in a pocket dimension where everything returns back to the main timeline after the events. So honestly, whether you want to argue about how canon the games are or whatever, the actual story events are it's kind of pointless, because like the story events basically kind of like decanonize themselves. But like a lot of the like lore you get, like the first peak is interesting. There's the whole crater thing has some interesting stuff, though again I haven't done analysis on the stupid temple, sorry, the forge thing, so like there's still a lot for me to think of there. Yeah, up here. Yeah, okay, he's there now. Good. It's just there's a lot of stuff that Night Rain's like adding or whatever, but most of it's focused on the world outside the Lands Between, which who cares? And then the actual main plot or whatever is kind of irrelevant to anything regarding the Lands Between, so eh. Like I said, Executor has a few stuff with the whole joining Crucible Knights or whatever and giving us a little bit of insight. It's hard to say what the full significance is. I was talking about Xavier earlier when I was trying to recall all the little details we learned about Executor. Yeah, it's just the Trina stuff. We got the Sacrificial Twigs, so that's like Godric connected. Trina's Lily, Eyes of Yellow. Purified Ruin. Baked Imp Ashes here is an interesting choice. I get choosing the blue cloth set because obviously we're in the middle of a giant body of water and we're right above the Lake of Rot, which so all of it's very lore relevant there on two angles. This I find interesting though. I guess the idea is because the catacombs are in the area. Because we have catacombs here. And catacombs here. So I guess that would be the idea. Also a catacomb up there technically, but I'm pretty sure if anything they might have connected to this guy here. Obviously the festering bloody finger because of the Moog stuff. I think some of the Trina stuff you need, or it helps to get stuff from the sleep crabs in Raya Lucaria, right? Like, do they drop anything relevant? I can't remember. That's the only thing I can really see for why a Trina thing would be here at the Academy. And I can't think of anything. I don't recall there being anything in the vicinity that was kind of Trina-ish or Trina adjacent that would be relevant here. So yeah, I could see this being a allusion to how do I put it? I could see this being an allusion to the idea being that Trina is essentially or Miquella essentially attended the Academy early on and that he has a connection to this place. Golems are also made with glintstone, given the glintstone daggers glitch them out. Okay, that is true, but the thing is that we see them very clearly make marionettes, not the imps. The imps are very specific to catacombs and to the rooftops of Leyndell. So it's very obvious that if they're adding the imps, I don't think they're doing it because it's like, oh, they're manufacturing them or whatever. Especially considering, actually, I guess you can make the case that maybe imps could be added later on if you're like, oh no, it was after, or maybe you can make a trade deal, like, you know, the imps were being made in the course of America building relations with Liurnia, maybe. Yeah, I don't know, I guess it depends. I guess it really kind of depends. Like, do you need sorcerers specific to actually manufacture these things, or can like anybody do it? Because like I don't think Moulay Murray is a sorcerer, yet he seems to be able to take a golem and reprogram it. So they don't drop anything, I think. Okay, yeah. Because I'm pretty sure all the sleep stuff comes from like the owls and things. Is there a finger crow nearby who mentions Miquella? Does she? Oh no, she's at the gate town. Let me go. I don't think Miquella's mentioned here. Oh, you know what? I realize now. It's because the Albinorc village, duh. That's why. It's because the Albinorc village is here, right? So you have, like, obviously Rose Church for the Moog stuff, and then you have Albinorc village right there. All right, so what does this one say? And then we'll look at the other grandma. Oh. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, so it does mention Miquella, and it's in relation to the Albinorc village. So yeah, if the Trina thing has any significance, it's because it's reference to the whole Miquella and the Halig tree stuff. Okay. And this one's not the Eventide stuff. This is something separate. Okay, no, it's for the lift here, not for the lift to the Halig tree. I was like, I don't remember that being there before, but it's like, okay, no, it's for the rolled lift. It's not for sorry, it's for the Dectus lift, not the rolled lift. Yeah, so we have the different crones there and all that stuff. Like we said, well, another day we'll look at the knights and the soldiers and stuff. So I think we wrap things up here then. I think we've gotten a lot. I think we got in a lot of good stuff here, a lot of juicy stuff to add to Radahn. Yeah, and then the stuff with Rykard with Tanith or whatever, that stuff is good. I'm happy with that, with the Rana thing. The only thing I think I want to be concerned about is maybe I would want to have an explanation for the perfume, because they do the perfume oil that's flammable. But I guess perfume is generic enough. You can anyone can make it, right? Like, you don't have to connect it. Like, you don't have to connect it to, like, perfumers in the Erdtree priesthood or something like that. Like, basically, like, perfume is probably realistic to find anywhere except the mountaintops because of all the snow and stuff. And like I said, I need to also confirm with these stupid... I'm willing to bet... Yeah, I'm willing to bet that someone made a mistake, though. Like, if it's actually true that you can only get volcanic stones, like what I've been having... Again, it could be I'm just really unlucky. But if it's true that the volcanic stones you can only get from this area here... Shut up! There we go. If that is true, and like these guys don't drop it, and the ones up here definitely don't drop it at the Selly Everjail, then I can definitely see it where they were supposed to do this group, and it ended up just being this group because they got mixed up or whatever. I could definitely see that being a dev mistake. Because you essentially have two, like, quote-unquote identical, like, kind of groups of these guys that'll explode and stuff on you. It may not be immediately obvious which is which. Now, what's interesting to me here is that it's the gold ones here. Now, obviously, we have the what's the word? We have the mossy kind as well for the exploder guys, but that seems to just be universal. Like, they didn't retexture them for anything. It's the same thing in the sealed tunnel too. So it's all moss. It's always moss. That's probably because you can find them originally at with the other mossy types in that coffin cemetery in Limgrave on Stormhill. So they probably just didn't think it was They think it was important enough, especially considering it's an enemy that will basically immediately explode on you when you get close. It's not like you're gonna be like getting a good look at it most of the time. Sanctuary Stone. Yep, another fail. Yeah, I unless someone could show me like a statistical reality where this is not the case, I'm going to assume that these guys do not have the, they don't have what I am looking for. I've been saying I think they somehow mixed up the loot tables with the ones in the Altus tunnel to Rykard's Tower. I think that one might be a bit more of a stretch, though. Who knows? It could be like if it's kind of like with the portraits, maybe the Rykard, the Sealed Tower, and the these guys were right next to each other in the code and they got mixed up. I could see that. The thing for me though specifically is that it's very clear the idea is supposed to be the pathways above, so the pathway to the abandoned cave and the pathway to the Dragon Barrow from Caelid both collapsed, and these guys basically come in here to, you know, gather it all up and like incorporate it into their bodies or what have you, right? You know, they're always they're kind of like a self-repair program thing, and that might be why these guys explode, because I know the normal ones can also do the explosion thing, but they don't die. So this could be like some kind of either defense mechanism or some glitch thing, because they're trying to defend themselves when they're still like in like repair mode or whatever, so it just kind of overloads instead. Like, there's definitely several ways you can kind of interpret their behavior here. But like, yeah, these guys, the Mossy type. These guys are the Mossy type too, fascinatingly enough, right? And yet these are the ones that will drop the volcanic stones, right? And again, it could maybe it could be that both types were supposed to have volcanic stones, but they forgot. But it's just extremely weird to me. We have the Mossy kind here, and these drop the volcanic stones. But then the one where there's actually a lot of Rykard stuff, and it's bridging the abandoned cave and the actual abductor virgin that's still alive outside of it on the other side of the ravine. These guys don't drop the volcanic stones. So it seems very weird that they make one do it. They try to tell the story one through drops, and then the other one they don't use the same drops. Yeah, the problem I have with the Sealed Tower mix-up is that doesn't seem to be the lore for the Sealed Tower. Because again, I pointed out in the Shattering, right? The towers, the whole reason the runes are in the towers are because the blessings have been deprived from the runes, and that seems to be the signal that the Greater Will has abandoned the demigods. That's like, you don't get to use your gold anymore. It shall be the Divine Tower is actually a Divine Gift Tower, so the idea is like, this will be a gift of God, right? So the Greater Will, and in the Linear Tower's case, Ranni will gift a rune for us after we defeat the respective demigod. So it's like, okay. Okay. In this one, though, the idea seems to be, one, like, obviously hiding the tunnel's existence, which I think is just Morgott. I think it's just Morgott doing Morgott things to keep... Obviously, he controls the plateau. He's going to try to keep the two towers that have the blessings from ever potentially being found, used, or potentially infiltrated. But then we have these poison guys. So they're trying to establish right away, it's like, oh, these stones that are used for pests, they're being used. So what pests, specifically the term is referring to insects, right? So we're not referring to, like, say, a regular beastie, like a rat, or like a bird, like a crow or something. We're specifically talking about a bug. So we have these guys kind of doing their thing, but again, they all have the poison stuff, so it's like, oh wow, there's like some really big poison thing. And then there's, of course, the sealed tunnel, so these guys are now trying to hide more. So maybe this is just because of the Divine Tower, but maybe there's something more going on here. And obviously this area seems to be abandoned to some extent, and the Erdtree roots have been allowed to kind of freely grow big here, right? Obviously, we have the Abductor Virgin here. But these guys appear literally anywhere. Obviously, in Leyndell, we have more of them appear here, right? Like, they appear, they're in Raya Lucaria. They're outside Raya Lucaria. They're inside the Fortified Manor. They're inside the Sealed Tunnel. They're inside freaking Redmane Castle. Obviously, they're all around the Volcano Manor and Gelmir in general. So like they get around. I think the only place we don't find them is in the mountaintops, right? So yeah, the unique face wraps, like they're trying to protect themselves from the poison and stuff, right? That they're using so they don't possibly poison themselves. Like really neat stuff. It's amazing how I need an angle like that. So there's clearly this idea like there's some pests or whatever they're dealing with. We can see also some of our favorite guys that are helping out here doing their thing. And then we get to the actual area and we're like, oh, it's the quote unquote worms. They're the pests. They're like, oh my god, we have these ancient guys that love to appear in places where broken stone and stuff happens. And obviously we have the whole giant broken stone open for the meteor thing here. And they're pushing us out of our area. And now they're doing their whole thing. Like I said, this could be because of the broken rock and stuff they're collecting and things. And now they're exploding, right? Let's try to use poison against them. But they're not like normal they're not like normal pests because they're obviously like stone golem type things almost. So obviously that will never work. They don't have status effects like that. But again, it's a funny little haha, cool little development for the punchline of the setup they gave us. And then we fight frickin' Gravity Man, who I assume emerged from this meteor. And then go out here. Now this I think is the most interesting to me because you have you still have the gold grass. So this is the opposite of Gelmir, where the grass is green, but the trees are still gold. In here, the grass is gold, but the trees are now green, which is funny because the Erd tree, it's right next to the Erd tree, right? But I guess because the idea is because it's at a lower elevation, right? I guess that's supposed to be the idea. It's lower than here. Right, when you go, if I actually look from here, you're still looking down clearly at it, right? I think you have to be like, yeah, I think about here would be about eye level. Now, the problem is, I don't think that holds up for this. I'm pretty sure, definitely here, I'm pretty sure. But I think in general, this should be about the same elevation as what we get here. And obviously, even though that's farther away, that's got the full goldening. But I can imagine the devs are not thinking about that. I can imagine the devs were just thinking, oh, we've descended so deep, right? We're at like the lowest point in the plateau in their minds that are at least visible from here. So they kind of try to convey that and emphasize that by showing how the plants are not getting the goldening. What's up with the abandoned cave and being an abductor virgin storehouse anyway? So the idea with the cave seems to be that it was just a generic cave. A gladiator, one of the gladiators who went mad because of the whole death blight stuff, fled and used that cave as his new home and was kind of hanging around there. Obviously the rot happened, so killed that guy and basically anything else that ends up inside there. And it looks like the abductor virgins kind of all, for one reason or another, were like hanging around here doing, where's the... Yeah, okay, there it is. They were kind of hanging around doing their own thing, you know, doing their abductor thing. And I guess what happened was they basically got themselves stranded because the land between the two areas collapsed, probably because of the rot, if I had to imagine, right? So you have the roots and stuff here, right? Instead. So I think the idea was probably like the roots of the we obviously see it as all being static, but clearly there's the idea that these trees and roots and things are like growing and expanding, right? So probably the idea is like these roots cause the foundations to collapse and go down there. And now obviously we see the worm guys have taken to picking up the rubble or whatever. But basically you have a bunch of abductor virgins that end up trapped over there on the cave side. And they all end up in the rot and that is like soiling and they end up dead, quote unquote. I guess as dead as a device piloted by serpents can be. Right. Otherwise, they've been busy fighting off these guys, clearly. Yeah, they're just doing their thing, trying to find people to abduct and all that stuff. I think the interesting one is Castle Redmane, because I don't know if the idea is supposed to be that guy. Again, it's another one where like they're like Black Knights. They can virtually appear anywhere, and you're like, yeah, I can vaguely justify that. I can vaguely justify them just kind of wandering here at some point. I wonder if that's the idea here, like with Rhea Lucaria. Just somehow kind of gets in there and trapped inside someplace. Or if something else is going on with the red mains, but it's not immediately obvious to me, especially considering like there's nothing particularly either prisony or fiery. Like there's nothing prisony with Redmane Castle that would warrant wanting an Abductor Virgin for that, and there's nothing fiery enough with Abductor Virgins for Redmane Castle to want to use them for something. So, who knows? But yeah, that pretty much, like I said, the thing with Sealed Tunnel is just the way the narrative plays out for there and how it all works out. It just kind of doesn't really make sense for there to be any Gelmir influence itself, unless the Abductor Virgin itself is supposed to be the excuse for that. So I just don't know if the idea that they're supposed to be swapping out volcanic stones from down in Caelid for these. I think the Caelid thing makes sense, but it makes sense specifically in the context of the narrative with Abandoned Cave. So I'm wondering if there was a mistake here where they accidentally got the wrong group of these guys. I also find it curious that they used isn't that weird for this to be the mossy kind, admittedly? Because most of the gold effect would be closer on the Dragon Barrow side of things, so it would make sense if these are just like from the rest of Caelid side of things, right? But yeah, I got the mossy green guys. But then when it comes to the Dragon Barrow stuff, we get the gold types, which again, I like that the fact that this exists, because again, it's going to be another point on the graph. It's another point on the graph to add to. Here we go. To the idea of a influence of gold / the Elden Ring over here in Northern Caelid, much like the spots of golden grass we find by Bestial Sanctum. Like, it's very clear. Like, obviously, I was already pretty confident with my analysis before, but this kind of just cements it, right? Like, there's no reason for you to be using the gold types here. They should be exclusive to Altus, and the only other time they're used is literally here in the Golden Lineage. Like I said, it's only Mothsy types when it's the Suicide Bombers. These guys here are the only other ones you can find, and they're the gold type for obvious reason. So, yeah. This pretty much cements it for me that, yeah, the rock here is infused with gold, and so when these guys are essentially self-repairing using local rock materials and stuff to help keep them together and functional, yeah. And then of course we have the snowy types up in mountaintops, and it's like, okay, they're just covered in snow, that's nothing crazy. But yeah, so I'm very satisfied with that little revelation. But again, outside of that stuff, I don't think there's anything, at least for tonight, that I'm really concerned about. I am happy with the stuff on Tanith now and Rana. Now we have the stuff on Radahn as well, so we can get that out of the way. I asked Zuli, and Zuli did a side-by-side, and it looks like this enemy is identical to Agheel. Like, same colors and everything, so... For those just wondering, this is basically you fighting a tougher Agheel. Yeah. There we go. I love my patches of yellow grass. Anyway, so I feel like we're done. I think this is a good time to wrap things up. We got that all finished. I'm so glad we got the shots of Malekith here. It would have been cooler if the Erdtree was a bit more visible more times during the night. to really like hammer home that point. I feel like that was a missed opportunity by Miyazaki. I feel like this is one of those dev things where the devs kind of like they get like the knowledge where they can like see the thing here, but when you add all the lighting and effects and stuff like that, it's like, oh well, it's not really as clear cut. Agiel's just a random who lucked out with a name. Yeah, Agiel. I think there is a narrative there with Agiel and the other dragon that gets captured by Godric. I can see the idea that Agiel has a revenge thing because like one of his friends basically disappears. And obviously kind of just like goes on a rampage against all Godric's forces and stuff like that because of that. But yeah, he's basically just a random. He's not that important in the grand scheme of things. You can say that about most of the dragons though. Like, what the hell did Borealis do besides run away like a bee and basically hide in the mist for the rest of his life, trying to avoid getting hunted by frickin' banished knights? Like, imagine you're scared of banished knights. You're a giant-ass dragon with ice breath. What, you think that Niall is gonna, like, frickin' thunderclap you? Just fly away, dumbass. Ice breath him from the air. No, but yeah, I feel like with, I think with everything that we've got, this is a good place to kind of end it here. I can't think of any other screenshots I want, so... Oh, later, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye. And make sure that you don't tell the firstborn what happened here. He doesn't need to know they stole his stuff.